So to create a Google form, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're logged into your Google Apps for Education account. Once you've done that, go ahead and click on the 9 boxes over on the right hand side and click on Drive. Now, once you go into Drive, over on the left hand side, you're going to see a red button that says New. Go ahead and click on that button and go down to where it says More, and then click on Google Forms. This is going to open up a brand new Google form for you. Now, before getting into what we're going to be doing in Google Forms, I want you to understand that Google Forms does have some limitations. All of the information that is going to go on a Google form that you have students write into will appear on a Google Sheet that will automatically be created once your Google form is done. There are some basic settings that you do need to know about where appear. Require Alliance Blast login view. My Google Apps for Education account is called Alliance Blast. So if I require Alliance Blast login, only people who have a Blast account will be able to see this form. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not. If you're doing a survey where you're just trying to survey students or people within the organization, then that's what you would want to use. That way no one outside of the organization can see the form. However, if you're trying to survey, let's say, parents, that's going to be very difficult, and you want to make sure that that's turned off. So right now, I'm going to turn that off because whatever I create, I want to make sure everyone be able to see it. If you want, you can automatically collect a responder's username. But again, this only works if they already have a Google Apps for Education account that's identical to yours. You can show a progress at the bottom of the form pages. I'm going to click on that so I can show you what that looks like later. You can also allow one response per person. This requires them to log in once again. And you can shuffle the question order. By clicking up where it says Untitled Form, you can change the name of the form, Test Form, and that will automatically save it for you. Everything that you do right now is automatically going to save within Drive, and you can always tell if it's being saved because right up here, it'll tell you if it was saved, and when you hover over it, you can actually see when was the last time it was saved. So let's get into the form. What do I need to know? Well, Google Forms has 9 different questions that you can ask, and I'm going to show you a diagram, and these are the basic questions that you can ask. Okay, you have a text question that you can use. You have a text question that you can use, and these are usually used for short answers such as name, email address, etc., things like along those lines. You have a paragraph text, which allows people to write a lot more. Within the paragraph text, if you're going to have them write sentences at all, that's what you want to use because the text question does not allow the students to actually see everything that they wrote, whereas the paragraph one gives them a lot more room. Question number 3 is a multiple choice, where respondents would select from one option among several choices. Basically, these are your multiple guess questions, A, B, C, D, so on and so forth. Checked boxes, where they check off whatever applies to them. These are great for if you have multiple correct answers and you want them to make sure to select all of them. So for example, which of the following are fit principles? And you can put in whatever you want and have them select. Going back up to the top, number 5, you have a list. A list allows them to select from a drop-down menu. Oftentimes you'll see this whenever you're filling out surveys or questionnaires and they ask you for what state you're in. They'll already have a list of what states you can choose from or countries that you can choose from. So this is similar to those. I like using lists because it saves a lot of space on the form itself. So the form doesn't become overly large. You have a scale. This is a more advanced type of techniques, but this is how respondents would rank something. Usually if this is a questionnaire, you can have them rank from 1 to 5, so on and so forth. You have grids. Grids, respondents are now selecting from 2 points, on a dimensional grid. So, for example, you want to ask a question that has multiple answers. You can say, like, what color bike do the students ride to school? And then have the list of the colors down one side, have the list of the names of the students across the top, and they can select that way. Something along those lines. And then the last two is date and time. I don't use these very often because when students submit on a form, it automatically records the date and the time in which they do it. So the only time I could foresee us using date and time is if you have a appointment system where you want students to sign up for a particular date for an appointment or time for an appointment. So let's get back to the Google form. What do all these look like? So here right now, this is automatically set at our multiple choice setting. That's usually the first question that you can get that's automatically on there. So this is my edit button here. If you create a question, you can now duplicate that question. And if you don't like whatever you created, you can actually just delete it. So right now, let's say I'm going to go with name. And down here, I'm going to say, make sure to use your first and last. So this helps them remind what it is that I want them to do. And I'm going to change this to a text question. Make the question required, make the question not required. A required question means that it needs to be answered before the respondent can move on. So if they don't answer, they will be flagged and tell them, and there will be a message that will pop up and that says that they need to answer this question. Now, there are advanced settings where you can ask for certain things. For example, if I wanted an email, I can click regular expression, or excuse me, I can click text and say that it's going to be an email. So now whatever they type in there has to follow the email format. We're going to turn that off right now. So that's a basic text question. Now, paragraph question, clicking on the caret opens up all the options that you have. Click on paragraph to add a paragraph question. What did you do over spring break? So ask the question. Once again, they have a long answer. Make it a required question. Click done. So as you can see, students have much more room to type in here. If you ever want to look at what your form looks like before you finish it or before you move on, go up to the top and you'll see in the menu bar where it says View Live Form. If you click on that, the live form of what you've just created will open up on a web page. And once again, you can see text, very small space, paragraph space, much bigger, and you can actually make it bigger if you want just by clicking and dragging in the corner. So now students can actually view everything that they write. All right, so I'm going to close that. Let's go back to what I can do. Another way to add questions, go up to the top where it says Insert, click on that, and now I'm going to choose multiple choice. So the question here might be something simple. What year were you born? And I'm going to give several options. Most of my students were born in 2000. Some were born in 1999, and some may be 2001. Now, let's say none of those are the correct answers. I can add an others option where now they can type in their own, make this a required question. Now, here is some interesting things. If you go to advanced settings for this, I can now shuffle the order of the answers. So when I click on done, now I can go look at that live form again, and you can see the question answer order is different than what I actually typed in. So this is great if you're doing an assessment, whether formative or summative, and you want to minimize the amount of looky-loos cheating. You can use this and you can shuffle the order of the answers. Once again, if you go up to the top, remember, we can also shuffle the question order. So keep that in mind as well. So the next thing to learn how to add is the checkbox. So from the checkbox, we can ask questions and again, provide several options. After the checkbox, we have choose from a list. Whatever you decide to put in, option 2, option 3, question 1. Now, when they click on it, going back to the live form so you can see what it looks like, you can see the different options show up. Now, after doing all of this, a very useful tool that you can use is adding in a section header. By adding a section header, you divide your form into sections, and this makes it easier to read and complete. To add a section header, all you have to do is go to Insert, scroll down to where it says Section Header, and click on So. In the section header, you can add a section title and provide a description, but you don't have to. This is particularly useful if you're doing online tests. Adding a page break is another thing that you can do. Again, caret on the bottom, you can go to page break, and this creates a second page for forms that are getting a little long. Makes it easier for respondents to fill out, and just overall keeps it nice and compact for people who are trying to fill out your forms. To do so, you can again go to the Insert at the top of the menu, or you can use the caret option that I just demonstrated. Now, for each question, header, and page break that you've added to your form, you can use the icons next to each of those to edit, delete, or duplicate. This is the edit button here. This is the duplicate button, and this is the delete button. Edit allows you to edit an existing question. Delete allows you to delete a question. And duplicate allows you to quickly copy a question so that you can create another one. So if you have a question that, multiple questions that have the same answer choices, this would be a way of doing that. You can also add images to your form. Just simply, again, click the Insert, click Image, and you can add an image using any of these options. You can upload one that you already have on your computer. You can take a snapshot using your laptop's camera. You can insert by a URL if it's a picture that you saw online. You can add from your own album that you have on Google+, or you can add from Google Drive, or you can just do a search. So I'm going to do a search for push-ups. And I like this picture here because it has two different examples from the up position and the down position, and then I'm done. If I don't like that, I can click on it, edit it, make it smaller by dragging the corners in. I can format, whether it's on the justify or the alignment on the left, the center, or to the right. And then when I'm done, I can again go to look at my form. And because I created that page break, I can now go to the next page by clicking continue, and there's my picture. Now, you can also add videos into your form. Once again, go down, click on video, and you have similar options. You can just do a straight video search on YouTube, or if you have a URL that you like, you can use that. So because we're doing push-ups, I'm going to check YouTube for a beautiful push-up video. And here's a nice one that I can use for people who already know how to do push-ups. Again, you can also adjust the size of the video by pulling on the carets. And that, my friends, is how we create a Google form.